Welcome to Lessons from the Cockpit. Let's do this. Hey everybody, welcome to Lessons from the Cockpit. I'm Belinda Sandor. I'm thrilled you're here with me today. For those of you who are joining me for the first time, I have crazy static hair. One of my friends, I just moved to Virginia recently, and one of my friends said, Virginia hair, we don't care because there's so much humidity in the air. Anyway, welcome. I'm Belinda Sandor. I'm your host for Lesson from the Cockpit, my live stream weekly show that airs every Tuesday at 10:30. So I'm glad you're here. Come on in. And for those of you who are joining for the first time, I am the founder of the VA Connection, where I coach and mentor established and aspiring virtual assistants. And I do that in my online community, my courses, and my coaching programs. And Maureen is here. Hello, everybody. Come on in. Let me know who's here. And today we're going to share a tactical and practical advice for your virtual assistant business. And today we're going to talk about the niche, to niche or not to niche, or to niche, however you say it. But we are going to talk about that. So tell me where you're coming in from for sure. A good afternoon from wet England, says Jane. Hey, Jane, check your email inbox. I sent you an email on Sunday. I'd love to see if you can join us tomorrow. So check that out. Maureen is here. Awesome. George, hello, hello, hello. Okay, so I want to introduce myself to you, and then we're going to jump into this whole thing about a niche. I love, love, love this topic because so many people get sidetracked with this niche thing, and we're just going to blow the lid off of it, okay? So you can just stop thinking about it, all right? Good, 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 good. Okay, so if you are trying to figure out what your next move is, I hear you. I totally hear you. This is the picture of me and my little Delish, as I call her, 14 years ago. And this was, I was just about to turn 50, and I was trying to figure out what the heck was going to be next for me. I had a failed business, a ton of debt as a result. My marriage is ending, and I'm still going to be a single mom, and I'm about to turn 50. And the thing is that this is what was so interesting to me looking back years later, was that I always had a plan for my life, 30, 40, 50, even 20, and when I didn't hit the mark for 50, I didn't have a plan for 60. So I felt completely lost. Like, what am I going to do now? And I felt like I was at a dead end, like sort of like a cul-de-sac. I kept going around. And so that was really interesting to feel that sense of hopelessness and not have something to look forward to for the first time really ever, because I've always been so optimistic. And then I realized, oh, you need to redesign everything that's going on here. And that's what I started to do. And I wasn't living paycheck to paycheck. It was really like moment to moment, because I couldn't figure out what I was going to do. So the business is failing, all the debt, all the big life changes. And then on top of that, I can't get a job. And I can't believe I can't get a job, because my whole entire life, I called the recruiter, I let them know what I was looking for. They lined up interviews. 2 weeks later, 3 weeks later, I have a job, I have a raise, I have a new title, and that's just how it went. But that wasn't the case. I couldn't even get the interviews, and I'm thinking, what the heck is going on? And so I thought, all right, fine, I'll temp. So I start temping, and I'm back in the workforce. I love it. I love being around the people. I love the whole thing. It's kind of like playing office. I'm putting on clothes and taking the train or the bus, and I'm thinking, all right, this is really good. So it's good to be back making money. It's good to be back in the workforce. But what I did not love was the commute, and the clothes got old pretty fast, right? And buying an expensive lunch or bringing my lunch, or it was just kind of a hassle. And I liked working from home. And so I thought, okay, what am I going to do? The other thing I didn't like sharing the money. Because what happens is when you're a temp, the company that you're working for, they pay a fee to the agency, which makes sense, right? That totally makes sense. But I thought, what if I could cut that step out and I could go directly to the people that needed help? What would that look like? So I'm thinking about it. And one day, not long after that, I'm at the school bus stop and I'm making chit chat with one of the dads. And I say, he says, what's going on? And I say, well, I'm thinking about starting this business. This is what I have in mind. This is my background and blah, blah, blah. And his whole face lit up like, wait, what? Now, what I didn't know was he started a business a couple months before. He was drowning in administrative stuff. I had no idea. I thought he had a job. And here's what's crazy. Okay, you ready for this? This is how nuts we are. If I had known that he had a business and he could have hired me, I probably wouldn't have told him. Like, what's up with that? My underlying belief that was all over my whole life was they're going to think I want something from them. They're going to think I want something from them. That was driving the bus. And so what a distorted way to look at the world, right? So I had a lot of work to do to make that major shift that made this all possible. So I start working with Will and I'm thinking, okay, this is good. I'm making money. It's part virtual. It's part in person. That's okay. Cause I don't even know what a virtual assistant is at this point. I'm just working. And then the next client I meet at a wedding. I'm at a wedding and I'm in the buffet line holding my little plate and my silverware, start making chit chat. And I realize, I meet this person. His name is Michael Katz. I talk about him all the time, and he's still a client. He's a friend, colleague. He spoke at our last conference, and so we start chit chatting. I don't even have a business card. I don't have a business name. I don't have a website. I don't have anything. I just have, me. So he gives me his card. I connect with him on LinkedIn the next day. I swear, this whole concept in my brain of he's going to think I want something from him almost stopped me from connecting with him on LinkedIn, which honestly, life always works out. But that was a big connection that I made because he became a client. I helped him with a live event. So now I'm working part virtual, part, in real life. But then what happened was he lived about an hour away and he wanted to do online events. And he said, do you know how to do this? And I said, no, but I think it would be great for you to do it, these events and, blah, blah, blah. We're talking. And he says, well, you figure it out. And I'm like, figure it out, and he's like, yeah, I'll pay you to figure it out so we can do this. And I'm thinking, all right, so now I'm working from home. There's no agency involved. The money's going directly to me. And now someone's going to pay me to learn something. I love learning new things. They're going to pay me. This is going to work out really well. So I just got busy telling everyone that I know about my business. And there was sort of this ripple effect started. And there's lots of ways that I teach you to spread the word about your business, all of which are in VA school. So if you guys are thinking about joining, enrollment's open. So now's the time to jump in until Thursday. But I could see all of a sudden how my business could expand beyond my location. And I'm thinking, this is really interesting. So then what happens is I meet this guy right here, who this is on our wedding day. It's 2012. I meet my husband. I re-meet him, actually. We went to high school together. And he lives in Connecticut. I live in Boston. That's 164 miles apart. So I'm thinking, all right, so he works in New York. He's tied to the train. He's tied to the whole, go to the office thing. If this is going to work, I need to get creative again. So I'm like, okay, I can do that. So I moved everything to the cloud, everything. Where before it was sort of, a little here, a little there. I got serious and everything went to the cloud. And remember, this is 2012. So this was 12 years ago. Like everything wasn't in the cloud, right? So I had to get really innovative about this. And stop relying on my location so I could go down and spend, Emily's spring break we spent there, or we could go down when she was out of school and I could work from his house while he was in New York. And that really made a big difference. And it was a game changer because I was able to marry this man that I was, madly still am in love with. And if I had had a job in Boston, it would have been a lot harder. a lot harder. And so I had really, what is it called? Location independence, right? Location independence, time flexibility, all the things. And it made this lifestyle possible. And so again, this ripple effect took place, and my business took off. And the first year I was in business, I made $70,000. And then for the next 10 years, I made $100,000 a year as a VA, not training people to be VAs, not running an agency, me doing the work. And it was awesome. It was awesome. And like I said, this is us on our wedding day. And if you join VA school and you remind me, I'll tell you the story about why we're all wearing white Stan Smith tennis shoes. But this is David, Charlie, Greg, me, Emily, Stephen, and Andy, all on our wedding day. And, and the story continues, excuse me, because of this lifestyle and this freedom, I've worked with hundreds of entrepreneurs, and I've billed over 20,000 hours, and I've made more than $1 million as a VA, working with people, working with people who are, just regular everyday people. I wasn't working with celebrities, and from the beginning, Greg and I really dreamed of owning our own home, and it seemed so out of touch for a very long time. But I kept at it. I kept at it. Excuse me. He kept at it. And we bought this charming farmhouse on 21 acres in Virginia 6 months ago. And if you hear any noise, we have some window repair going on right now. We are going to bring this beautiful home back to life. And I have to say, I didn't follow the plan at all that I thought I would. I had my daughter when I was 40. I started a career path as a virtual assistant when I was 50. I married the man I've been looking for my whole life at 60. And at 63, we became homeowners together. So it's not too late for you to have the life you want, but you do need to get to it, right? You do need to get to it. And you've got to start thinking like a successful business owner. That was a huge piece for me. The person who got me into debt, the person who, had a failed business, the person with the failed marriage, that's not who I could let drive the bus. I really had to take charge and shift my mindset, do different things. I hired a coach, I got a mentor, and it was game on from there. And you also might, have to let go of some things. There was a lot of things that I had to let go of that were not serving me, and that's critical too. So let's jump into this topic of the niche, okay? The niche is really interesting because all over the internet, and probably in every business book, probably in every business course, people are telling you need a niche. You have to have a niche if you're going to make money, if people are going to know what you're doing, blah, blah, blah. So it might seem a little controversial for me to tell you, you don't need a niche. In fact, I think a niche is going to actually hurt you when you're starting out. And the thing is that when I first started out, my business is called Rocket Girl Solutions. I thought I had to have a niche. I read the book, I saw the movie, I need a niche. Okay, fine. So I decide that I'm going to work for startups. That sounds cool. Sounds a little edgy, kind of sexy. I'm going to be the star because I know so much stuff. This is going to be great. And what happened was I didn't have enough work because I didn't actually know anyone who was a startup. And since I thought I had to be true to my niche, I'm actually probably turning away people who are not in my niche because they're not in my niche. And that's starting to be crazy, right? It's starting to be crazy. Now let's jump up a little higher. I want to talk about what a niche actually is, okay? So there are different ways to have a niche, okay? So you can have a niche of only working with coaches, okay? So you only work with coaches, you only work with wedding planners, you only work with fill in the blank. Or you can have a service that's the niche, okay? So the service can be you only do email newsletters, you only do websites, you only do fill in the blank, okay? Or you can combine them for a super duper niche and you can only do email newsletters for coaches. Okay, so the thing is unless you're an expert who is wildly sought after in your niche, it's going to be crickets. It's going to be crickets. And so what I would do is I would go broad, right, and offer general administration services with a list as long as you can, right? A list as long as you can. And over time, you're going to figure out, okay, I like working with this kind of person. I like doing this kind of thing. Because here's the thing. So here I am. I think I'm so smart. I'm picking a niche. And the truth is that even though I had 17 years of corporate experience, I'm 50 years old. I've had a lot of life experience. I figured a lot of stuff out. All of the work that I would then do for the next 14 years for my clients, I didn't really know how to do any of it. Take that in for a second, okay? Because I know a lot of you are struggling. You're like, I don't know what I'm going to offer. What I offered was to help people solve their problems. So like with my first client, I had no idea how to run a webinar online. I'd never even been on a webinar online, right? So that was okay. You start to break it down. You're like, okay, we need to invite people. Okay, good. That's an email. All right, someone needs to write that. Okay, we're going to send it out. Someone needs to put it in the software. Okay, we need software to deliver the webinar. This is before Zoom, right? So I'm asking around. My client's asking around. We find some software. We learn it. Okay, good. We're good. All right. And we just keep going, And so that's how that works. Kind of like it did in corporate. I didn't walk into corporate and know how to run whatever software it was that was proprietary to the company. I learned it over time. And it's the same thing with being a virtual assistant. All right. So this whole idea of a niche will evolve over time. And, here's the thing. Here's who my ideal client, let's see if I can whip this out. My ideal client, I finally realized years later, when I started the VA connection, and so many people were asking me, what's your niche? And I realized how much noise there is on the internet about it. I had no idea. I wasn't paying attention to it because I was just cooking along, doing my thing, making money. And my niche is, it turns out, are middle-aged entrepreneurs, mostly retired from corporate, who have been successful enough to start their own business and to be able to afford me pretty easily and need the services that I offer or be willing to pay me to learn them. That's the niche. All right. So they're mostly service-based. So they're financial planners, coaches, marketing consultants, nutritionists. So people who offer a service just like me, right? My service is virtual assistants. They offer a service just like me. And, so I want you to skip this whole idea of a niche, literally, unless you have 200 people's email addresses who are in your niche that you can reach out to, and just settle into, I'm a virtual assistant. Okay. Now you can offer graphic support. You can offer technical support. You can offer admin. You can offer any combination that you want. And, sometimes when I'm talking to potential VA school students, I kind of think it's kind of crazy how many categories I can't offer services in, but I was still very successful. Like graphics, not happening. Really technical websites, not happening. Writing, I don't think so. Editing, proofreading, none of that, right? So, but there are so many other things that I could do, and I brought my friends in, right? I have a friend who's a website developer, Barry Schuchter. You've met him. Mark Tatro does my graphics. I have people who edit, people who do different things. Jenny Jolly, one of our VA school students, is an editor and a Word nerd, and she helps. So you can bring different people in to support your clients' needs. You don't need to have all of this yourself. Okay, good. All right, so be patient. Give yourself the benefit of going broad and until you can identify that sweet spot. Now, one more thing I want to say. You're going to go to a networking event, and some person is going to come up and he's going to say, what's your niche? Who's your ideal client? And you're probably going to think, like, I don't know. Belinda told me I didn't need that. What are you talking about? Why are you asking me? Right? That's going to happen. So what I want you to say is I want you to be prepared for that. Okay. Because just because that guy or that woman read the book that says you need a niche doesn't mean you need a niche. Okay. It just means they read the book. So I want you to be prepared and say something like, what I found is that by offering a broad range of administrative, creative, technical support, I'm really able to focus in on a lot of different industries. And it's been fascinating how much I've learned. And then, like, you guys been around me long? Stop talking. just stop talking. Okay. And, but know that that's going to happen. 100% it's going to happen. And just think to yourself, oh, wow, they read that book. I wonder how that's going for them, and maybe it's going okay. But for most of us, especially when we're just starting out, it's having a niche is fiction. It's just fiction and it's not going to work in your favor. Okay. So any thoughts about that? I would love to hear your thoughts. All right. Now, enrollment's open for VA school, so don't miss this opportunity. We are taking new students right now for my signature program, VA School. If you want to create the business and the lifestyle that you've always wanted so you can work from home, this is for you. So scoot over to, let me put the URL up. Hold on a second. Right here, vaschool.info. Scoot on over there. Check it out. Check it out. We're going to do a live session today. Let me look and see what time. Let's see. Hold on. I think it's 3 o'clock. Let me check. Yeah, at 3 o'clock today, we are going to do an epic Q&A about all things VA school. We're going to talk about virtual assistants, what a virtual assistant is. We're going to start from the top. So if you have questions, absolutely check it out. We're going to be on YouTube, LinkedIn, Facebook, all the places, okay? And I'd love to have you there to check it out. The other thing I want to tell you about is we've had some free live trainings in the last week and a half. All of the replays, including a tour of VA school and a Q&A, can be found at vabusinesshub.com. So vabusinesshub.com. So scoot over there. The replays are going to be up till Thursday, which turns out it's Halloween, which is kind of fun, at midnight. So don't miss out on these valuable trainings, especially if you're trying to figure out what's your next move in your life in terms of your career and your lifestyle and how you want to live. Okay, good. Well, thank you for coming. Again, I'm Belinda Sandor. This is Lessons from the Cockpit, and I'll see you this afternoon. Bye for now.